The broadcast is now starting. All attendees are in listen-only mode.
Good afternoon, good morning. This is Gail Thompson here from Secured Signing. I'm just going to give it a couple more seconds for people to join us, as it's exactly 1 o'clock now. And while I do that, I'll make sure that everyone can see my screen and hear me. If you can't, please tell me. The best place to do that is in the question and answer box. Okay, nothing there, so I'm hoping everything's good. Whilst you're looking at the question box, that if you do have any questions throughout our webinar today, feel free to pop them in there so I can answer them. You know, keen for the session to be as interactive as possible rather than just me talking at you the whole time. So definitely pop in some questions. And also I am going to keep to the 45 minutes today, as everyone's time is very precious. That's me on a good day. So I'm Gail Thompson, the General Manager of Secured Signing. And in the next 45 minutes, I'm going to tell you about us. So who Secured Signing are. I've got a quick slide on that. I know some of our attendees today are existing users of Secured Signing, so bear with me. You might find out something you didn't know already. Then I'm going to cover just the basics of what is a digital signature and explain the couple of differences or common misunderstandings about the terminology around signing documents online. So do a bit of education piece there. Then I'm going to share some common use cases for government. So prior to the session today, we've spoken to our existing customers that are using us and found out, you know, what are they really enjoying and where they're finding they're getting the most value from going to a paperless signing process. I'll then highlight some of Secured Signing's unique features for government customers in particular, again, that we have developed and feedback from existing customers, and then the highlight, which I'm sure will be the demonstration. So I'll show you a couple of things within our platform where we definitely won't have the ability to get into everything, as we have quite a deep functionality product. So that's a quick overview of what we're going to cover. Just checking again, everybody can hear me okay? I did once do a webinar and the screen wasn't visible, and it was late once I realized I've got this fear to make sure everybody can see and hear me okay. So yeah, if at any stage you have trouble, please put a comment in the question box. Very well. All right, so to kick off, who is Secured Signing? So we're a cloud-based digital signing platform with online forms capability as well. So that's what we do. We've been around for 10 years, so our 10-year anniversary is coming up in about 2 weeks, actually. So we launched our product to the market in 2010. We're a Kiwi-owned company, and our head office is based in Auckland, New Zealand, which is where I'm talking to you from today. And it's a very nice and sunny, beautiful winter's day here. So hopefully you're having an equally nice day wherever you are. Because we are very much a global company. So we've got customers spread right across the world in more than 30 countries who use our platform every day to sign business documents. Now, a couple of things that make us unique in this market of signing documents online is our digital signing technology. So when we built our platform, we wanted to use the most secure way or technology available still today to sign documents for our customers, and that is the PKI, which stands for Public Key Infrastructure Technology. It has been around for many years, actually, and it was launched, I believe, in the early 70s. It's also the foundation of the blockchain for those that are interested in blockchain technology that is founded on PKI digital technology. And it is, and I've got quite a few slides on this, so I won't go into that, but we definitely stand out in terms of the technology that we use. Most cloud signing platforms do not use this technology, so it is definitely a point of difference. And if I was to just summarize us as a platform, so we describe ourselves as a serious signing platform, because not only do we use serious signing technology, which I've just touched on, we have seriously large depth of functionality that lets you absolutely take any paper-based process and convert it to a digital way. But we also are very serious about being customer focused and providing great support. So I'm sure if you speak to some of our existing customers, they will agree that our customer service is also top class. So that's about who we are. I'll take a deep breath before I get into the technical side of the webinar today. So hopefully you can keep up with me. If you have any questions or you want some more information on any of this, because I am still going to keep it reasonably high level, then please pop a comment in there, and I'll also mention where on our website you can find some more information. But the key question is, why should you choose our technology over other signing technology? So I'm going to give you a quick explanation of the two common ways of signing documents and what the pros and cons are. So the image that you've got there is of what is described an electronic signature. So a lot of things can actually count as an electronic signature. So even a tick box can count as an electronic signature, but it is the broad term of, signing documents online. Typically, an electronic signature is just an image or a picture of a signature that can be added to any document. So it's just an image. Now, because it's just an image, it can actually be copied and pasted anywhere. So if you right-click, copy image, and you can place it wherever you like. So it doesn't keep your signature safe, and it means that anyone that has access to your document can steal the image of your signature. So what we call that is we say that it doesn't have any document security. The signature is not protected, and neither is the content of your document. So for example, if it's a new supplier agreement, you can alter the terms of the contract or the document, and the signature appears fine. So there is no way or no mechanism within an electronic signature to detect if there have been any changes made to the document. Now, we know just from past experience, some government agencies that we work with were thinking that because a document is in PDF, it means that it cannot be edited. So they were not checking the electronically signed PDF that was returned to them from, say, an external party. However, the external party actually had later found out had altered that document, and they had no way of knowing. So they now use the digital signing methodology to seal their document before it actually goes to that third party. So it's a nice segue into, why a digital signature is more secure. So that image there is that of a digital signature, and you can see it's got a bit more information, and also you can't copy and paste it on the right. So our PKI, Public Infrastructure Technology, is based on cryptographic technology, which offers you the greatest document security and signer authenticity. Each digital signature is unique to the signer and the document itself. So we give each signer their own certificate, their own private and public key. So this is very unique and very secure. Now, the signature itself cannot be copy and pasted, as it's not an image. There's a lot that actually goes on and many layers behind the scenes, like I mentioned, certificate, keys, hash, all these other things that actually take place during the signing process that seal the document with your signature. So as soon as in your signing process, as soon as the first signature is applied, your document is sealed. Even if someone was to then download the document partway through the signing process, it is already sealed with their first signature, which is why a lot of our government customers would sign first at times just to seal that document, or they would also actually sign any external communications, letters as such, to seal that document. So they know that it cannot be altered without it invalidating the signature. Now, if somebody was to alter the document, because the reality is there are PDF editing tools, PDF does not mean it cannot be edited on its own. So what happens when you open that PDF, you will get an error at the top that says invalid signature. that is how you know that the document has been altered, and you can actually see which signature it was that it affects. Cool. And can't be copied. Very good. So how does our signing technology meet or comply with the electronic signature laws around the world? So in terms of the signing laws around the world, there are 3 key things that you need to show. So you need to, hang on, let me see, I've got identify the signatory. So this is just the details of our signature. So we do that. We identify who it is by giving them each their own unique signature. The signature itself is linked to the signatory. What it means is only that person can actually sign. It's not anybody else. And that signature was created by their sole control. So this is a lot of legal jargon, but pretty much it means that is how we know that who signed. It also requires that any changes to the document are visible within the signature. So that's called data integrity. So in short, there's 3 key things that you need to have. You need to be able to identify the identity of the signatory. You need to capture the signer's intent, so you can actually put the reason for signing within the signature, which is displayed there, and also a way to show any changes to the document will invalidate the signature. So they're directly linked to one another. All right, any questions on that? No. All right, excellent. I hope there'll be some questions at the end. So next, I'm just going to quickly touch on some common use cases for government agencies that we know of. Of course, these are not the only use cases, and I'm sure you'll have some suggestions around things that you'll know better than us. What are some of the pain points that you're experiencing around physical signing of documents, especially with our current environment where everyone's working remotely? You don't necessarily have access to printers and scanners like you probably have in the comfort of an office. So that's giving you some flavor in terms of what are some of the use cases that you might think of. So I'll just run through a list of them. So human resources, or the HR department around recruiting of new staff. So that's a very common use case, signing employment contracts and filling out some, standard what we call government forms. So we actually provide those government forms out of the box to all of our customers. So if you're in New Zealand, for example, the KiwiSaver IRD, MOJ forms that you might be utilizing today. So we've got those ready-made for you in HTML5 template that you can send it out to your new hires. Likewise, in Australia, they have the TFN and the super form. In the UK, we've got the UK checklist. And in the US, we're just finalizing the I-9 form as well. So we really do try and tailor to human resources. And I should say that recruitment and HR is a separate area that we work with many customers actually across the world. And so we have a good understanding of the requirements that human resources departments have. Another use case, so permit and licensing process. So whether that's around building consents, liquor licensing, for example, you can do that with us. Internal approvals and policy sign-off. So we have a really in-depth workflow function, which I'll touch on, that lets you replicate some of those internal approval processes or policy processes. You need to have certain level sign-off depending on certain things. So you can replicate that with us. Now, procurement and contracts management. So that, I should say, procurement has definitely been probably the biggest or earliest adapter of our platform from our experience. So letting you sign documents both for internal and with your suppliers. You can also capture information from the suppliers. So we have the ability for the supplier themselves, for instance, to complete information and provide you with additional documentation that you might need in the procurement process. Likewise with contract management, contract is our bread and butter. So that makes sense. So another use case around the democracy team and around council documentation. So whether it's council minutes that need to be signed, or any sort of agreed actions. I probably don't know the appropriate wording that you described that there, but we've had our customers using that successfully in that process. And then around letters and communication with the constituents, another word I can't pronounce. So as I mentioned, sealing that document before it goes out to the public with your signature. We also have like a bulk signing, so you can essentially sign thousands of individual letters with a few clicks, and then they all go out at once. So definitely there. And then enforcements and correction, I think that might be the last one that I've got. So we've got, customers using it for the court system process, for example, in the US, all sorts of, where that legal requirement. Also legal and finance. So, I haven't mentioned that in here as well, but there's a lot of, if there needs to be invoice sign off, that sort of stuff can also be done with us. So it's just gives you a bit of a flavor of what can be done. But as I say, wherever there is a need to capture a signature or information, that can be done online rather than reverting to a paper process. Okay, so this is the last thing before we jump into the demonstration, is just talking about some of those features that I'll actually show you. So we have a very rich and robust signing workflow tool. And as I said, it lets you convert any existing paper process into a digital one. What it means is that you're actually even more in control of the process yourself. So you don't sort of email and hope for the best. You can actually see exactly what is going on. You can invite an unlimited number of people to sign a particular document. There's no limit on how many people can sign. You can add things like a reviewer. So, somebody internally needs to review that contract before it goes out to the external party, or signed internally as well. You can have that. You can have as many of those as you need. You can have a signing due date, which will follow, around when that compliance of that document needs to be returned, but also trigger a lot of automatic reminders. When I say a lot, it's up to you. So you actually have the ability to decide how many reminders you'd like to use, send, etc. We have different authentication levels, which I'll show you. And we also have sort of witnessing functionality, etc. So there's definitely feedback we have from our customers is that we are very rich in functionality that is very useful, because you don't have any roadblocks. I can't do this process because I need it to be reviewed, but we don't support it. So there's definitely, it gives you the freedom to truly go digital. We also have some unique integrations in the space. So we integrate, which we know our customers are using. So probably the most commonly used one is the Microsoft 365 integration, which includes Outlook, Word, and SharePoint. So this just lets you work on your documents either in Word, or if you've been sent some documents in Outlook, or if you use SharePoint, to send them to signing directly from within those systems, so you don't need to log into secured signing. Likewise, we also have a partnership with Magic Software, and we are soon releasing an integration with Micro Focus Content Manager, which is previously known as TRIM by many councils. So that's coming up. And we know that integrations are important, particularly in the document management side, so where you want to keep them for long term. Another tool that we have is document negotiation. So if you are in that procurement process and you need to negotiate, you can do that with us. We also have video signing function, which was recently launched, but very relevant to today. So we offer 3 ways that you can engage with people that need to sign. So you can either send them a remote signing process, which they do in their own time. You can send them a face-to-face signing process. So if you were to meet in person but still want to sign on a shared device, so a tablet or a computer when you're both in the same room. And video signing we launched to allow you to do an online meeting. So you'd have a host, and then you'd invite your signers to join the meeting. You'd have a conversation just like we're having now, and then everybody watches everybody signing. This is really strong for witnessing as well. So if you have processes with the witnessing requirement, this is how you can use video signing to watch them signing. I'm going to put these ones together. So as I touched, another features that are important to government agencies is that you want to have independent verification of your document. So what that means is your document belongs to you. Once that document is signed, it by default, after 7 days, it gets deleted from our system. We can make that earlier if that was important. We work with pharmaceutical companies in the US, and that needs to be pretty much instant when it's deleted from our system. Now, what it means is that you can, with our technology, you can verify or validate that a document hasn't been altered or changed yourself in your own computer. You don't need to come back to us. So other signing platforms, because they don't use our signing technology, they have to keep a copy of your document for long term, so that to verify or check if the document has been altered, you have to log onto that platform, you put in a document ID, and then they do a match. So they keep a copy and then they compare the copy that you have on file and whether there's been a change. With secured signing, you do not need that. Our technology means we don't need a copy. There only needs to be one copy and it's yours. So we refer to that independent verification. It gives you independence. And this is a really big success reason for the legal sector that like our technology over other signing technologies. The second thing is we support long-term archiving. So some signing platforms, their certificates expire after 2 years. So yes, you can independently verify that document, but in 2 years' time, you won't be able to because it expires. We support long-term archiving. So we've been around 10 years. I've got documents from 10 years ago that you can still verify independently today on your own computer. You don't need us. So I've just got a question. So thank you for the question. It's just around contract documents that are very large in size. So we support very large size documents in our signing process. There's a specific question around breaking the document when uploading to the server. So you can upload it to our platform with no trouble. The key difference is that when you'll see, we deliver the signed document back to you, but when the document is over 20 meg, we recommend a link. So rather than actually attaching the document to that, we provide you with a link. But we would also say that if a document is very large, like 300 meg in this question, the user experience is just going to be a bit slower because the document has to download. So once they click on the link, and it'll just take a little bit longer than usual to download the document, but we definitely support that. And our existing customers do use very large file sizes today for this particular reason. We have a sort of default limit, and then you would just need, as part of our conversation, we'd understand what are your typical contract size or one-offs, and then we can also increase that for you permanently. So that's no problem. We definitely do support large documents. And my last point is just to say that our platform is definitely made for enterprise. So we have an enterprise admin portal or its own console for you to manage your enterprise organization. So whether it's different departments, around those use cases, and then you'd have specific templates or settings for those particular departments. So yes, we support that. We also support single sign-on and other functions that are required by enterprise. So we do have your own tool to manage an enterprise organization. All right, enough for me. Let me show you what I mean, because it's probably most interesting. So I'm going to cover our two main use cases, or functions. So one is called WeSign, which is just inviting other people to sign a document. It is sort of the most basic process, and I think it gives you a really good understanding of what's possible, especially if you're new to signing documents online. And then I want to give you a quick demonstration of our template function, so that you can use for documents for repeated use. If we have more time, I will do that. Can you still see my screen? Yes, very good, making sure. Okay, so what I've done there is I've just logged into the platform. So who needs to log into secured signing? Those in your agency that need to send documents out for signing, only they need to log into secured signing. So if you have an internal person who is the role of signing off on documents, but they never initiate it, they don't need to log into secured signing. And in fact, they don't need a user in secured signing. We take care of that, and I'll show you that process. But those that are responsible for preparing the documents to be sent would have their own login. So each user would have their own login. Once they log in here, we've got some tiles at the top with some information about their individual user usage. We also have a menu here, but these buttons are really the main ones that you'd work with. So as I said, I'm going to show you the WeSign process, which is inviting others to fill in and sign, and Form Filler, which is our template product. We do, however, have additional functions to further automate, or depending on your use case, what that we would recommend. But the step one is to bring the document into our platform. So you'd click by adding your document. You'd select the file. I'm going to use this NDA document. You can at this stage upload multiple documents if you need to create a package. And you can also upload multiple documents to combine them into one file. If you say you have 3 separate documents, but you want them to all be one document, you can do that with us. Once you're ready, you click upload, and then the system asks you, what is it that you want to do? So sign means that I want to sign myself. Probably not used that often in your sector. Invite is for inviting, which is what I'm going to show you. Template makes sense. And then video signing is if you were to organize a video signing session. But in our case, I'm going to go through invite. And then there's 2 remaining steps before you can send out and your document's ready to go. So I'm just going to make this a bit bigger. So the first step is that you actually need to add who needs to sign. So you can scroll through to the right page over here, or using this drop-down menu here. And then you follow the red boxes is my tip. So when you click on that, it's asking you to add your invitee details. So to add somebody to sign, all you need to know is their email address, first name and last name. So I'm going to invite Greg, and I am going to add him here. So now I've got a signature box for Greg, which I can resize and position as required. Now, if I just grab your attention over here to the left, they are for each signature, there's some properties that I can choose from. So I can say whether it's a full or an initial signature. I can also, by default, the system will include the date and time and the name of the person signing. So if you think of a traditional signing process now, you'll have 3 fields typically for somebody to fill in. You'll have the date, their name, they have to write their name, and they have to squiggle. So this is essentially doing those 3 boxes into one step. We know your name, we know the date and the time, so you don't need to do that individually. We just bundle that information within the signature itself. If you did need to include some additional features like the job title, or the person has the authority to actually sign this, you would just include that here, and then the person signing will be asked to populate in their job title. Likewise, the reason for signing, so around capturing that intent, if you wanted to include that as well, you'd simply tick that and the person will be added. Now, as I mentioned, we also support witnessing functionality, so you could do that here. You simply now have another box where the witness needs to go. So I'm not going to show witnessing at the moment, but just know that it's available. And you can also do multi-page signing, which means that you can position, say you need to initial every page and you've got a 100-page document, you can put an initial placeholder on every page with a few clicks. So it's very easy. You can say all pages or select your pages. So you can also support that. Now, if there's another person that needs to sign, you simply add another person and off they go. Due to time, I'll just keep it to 1. So now you know that Greg needs to sign. You can add fields as well if you needed to, but again, I'm going to keep it simple. And then I click next. This takes me to the last and final step before the document goes out for signing. Now, what you see in this window depends on which account settings you've turned on. Okay, so this is where you would control what are the different options that your users and different departments need. So some things that you would add, or every signing process has, is a due date. So you would say when the due date is. The system has a default, so you can set what your default due date is, but of course you can also change that manually, and also time specific as well, depending on your process. When you can also choose the order of signing. So if you did have multiple people and the order was really important, say the council needed to sign first, then you tick this, and then you can say who goes first and second. So just drag and drop like that. You can still enable video signing from here, but I'm not going to show you that today. And then each person who signs, you can choose their own experience, right? So this is where you can really create that customized workflow. So Greg, let's say, is the external party. So say you want to actually authenticate him with two-factor authentication, SMS, which means that they will receive an email, and then to sign, they need to put a code to view the document. So that will be ticked if you wanted that. Likewise, you can also just use SMS to actually deliver the invitation in the first place, so they can get a link in the text to sign. So if you wanted to use that, really important around like urgency. So if you have some urgent documentation, you can actually send them a text as well. So you would add that. Review before signing means when the person has to read through the document first, acknowledge that they've read and understood the terms of the document before they go to sign. This is a very popular one amongst government agencies. So if you wanted that, I will show you that. You leave it on. But again, you don't have to. So maybe like the external person needs to do it, but the internal person, you're comfortable without them doing it. So you can really tweak this for each signer in the process. Video confirmation is another level of authentication that we offer, where the person actually takes a short 10-second selfie of themselves, and they do a random gesture. Probably not so common in your industry, but for example, we work with hundreds of finance companies, and they make this mandatory. So the person signing up to a new loan agreement, for instance, has to authenticate themselves with video technology again in their process before, say, funds can be dispersed. And then lastly, face-to-face is if you're meeting in person. You can also tailor the email invitation that is going to be sent to each invitee. And again, this is where your email invite for an internal person might be different to an external third party. So you can build a list of email templates. And again, this can be done by departments. So say your procurement department needs certain email templates, HR has different email templates. So it really is very customizable at that level. And you can also add attachments. So if somebody needs to add additional documents to be like FYI, read only, but not required signing, you would add them as attachments. The last thing I'm just going to show you is around another workflow feature. So you can add additional people, like copy in people to a signing process, and you can copy them in either when it goes out to be signed, so you can notify, say, a manager that a document has gone out. This is also where you would do a review, so you can say that a particular person in the council, for instance, needs to be reviewed. Again, you can use SMS authentication as well for that, or not. So there's a lot of flexibility within the system. I'm going to turn that off. And then lastly, you can also copy in somebody at the end. And this, I'm going to use the HR example. So say once the person signed their new employment agreement, you might want to copy in payroll to know that, okay, now we're ready to create the, take the next step around payroll. So you can automatically, when you setting it up here, decide who you want to copy in. So you don't have to send them a separate email. So once you do all of that, you click send, and thank you for bearing with me. There's a lot to explain there. And now your invitation's gone out. So Greg's going to receive an email. Before I show you what Greg's experience is going to be like for signing, I want to just show you how you can manage an existing process. So when you add a document, it sits in our inbox, or you can send it for signing straight away, which is what I've done. But once it's been sent, it sits in progress, which is where this now NDA is. So you can see the status of a document in a glance. So we know that we've got 0 of 1 people and they haven't signed. I can actually view the document from here. So if I get any questions, I can view the document log as well. And this is real-time updates of everything that has happened. So as you can see, the invitation has gone out, but I haven't yet done anything. So that's the final step. As I do things, it adds more steps to the audit log, and this is part of your evidence of what the signing took place. But probably the most useful part is that you can actually manage a signing process. So you can extend the due date, you can change the person that was signed, you can remove people if you have multiple people. You can also send a manual reminder. So what that means is that you don't have to start again if there needs to be any changes to a signing process, and that's really useful. Okay, so now I'm going to show you what the signing invitation looks like. So here we go. So your signer, whether they're internal or external, will receive an email from us. You can customize or add your branding here, so we would encourage you to do that. And you can also actually make we call it domain authentication. So rather than it coming through Secured Signing, it comes from you directly. So that also makes that signing experience much more personal. When within that email here, before they click to sign, you can reroute the document. So this is another function that you turn on. If, say, you don't know who is actually authorized to sign, but you have your contact person. So if they're not authorized to sign, they would reroute it to the appropriate person. So they take care of it, and then it adds that reroute function to the audit log. Likewise, if they wish to decline, they can do it from here, but there's lots of other places that they can reroute and decline once they open the document. So when they're ready to go, they click to view, and then it asks them for an access code. So the minimum access or authentication is actually in the email, and I think that was 5531. I can put that in for 5 times. If I get it wrong after 5 times, it locks down the link, and the document owner gets notified. This is where if you did use 2-factor authentication with SMS, that you would get that link code sent by SMS. Now, if you remember, I did a please read the document before you sign step. So as you said, once you've understood the terms and conditions of the document, click continue. So as I click OK, you can see that, hopefully you can see that, it's quite small. The percentage of the document goes up. And then once I get to 100 here, I have the option to continue because I agree, or decline. If I click decline, it gives me a reason to put a reason why I decline, and then that goes back, that reason goes back to the document owner, and obviously the signing process stops. But once I'm happy, I click OK, and then it takes me straight to the signature box where I capture my signature. So depending on the device that I'm using, the signature capture method will change. So if I'm using a desktop or a laptop, I will have this full suite of options. So I can choose from a font. Now, we would never get you to type your name because we invited Greg Smith. We didn't want somebody else to sign. So that's really important around security measure. We would also, you can choose to draw with the mouse, upload a signature. So actually a lot of our existing, councils, if they're signing internal people, would go through an exercise of uploading, have an image ready of their signature. A lot of councils probably already have used some sort of version of a digital image of a signature. So this is much more secure because it's not just an image, but you can still use that image here. You can use fax, not so common, or push it to your phone with a mobile ePad, so you're actually capturing the signature on your phone. If I was on my mobile, and people these days are on the go, then it's simply drawing the signature with your finger on the glass. Now, I also want to highlight that whoever is signing has the choice whether they want us to save an image of their signature or not. So this is where we've got the instructions of whether they click save and sign or just sign. Now, once it's finished, they get to this signing completed screen. You can also reroute this experience and take them to another page if you have specific landing page of what you want. So now that the signing process is complete, I'm just going to refresh. I need to use the right person. Two things happen. So if there are more people in the signing process, it now goes to the next person and the next person until everybody signs. But once the signing process is complete, everybody receives a completion email, which is what this one looks like. Again, this can be branded with your logo, and you can also tailor that. It also includes the audit log, so all the steps that have taken place, and of course the most important thing, which is the signed document attached here. Just make that smaller. And there is the signature in the bottom. So what a lot of our council customers are doing, or government agencies, is that they're actually taking this email and pushing it into your document management system. It tends to have a plugin with your email system, and then you can push both the audit log and the signed document to the right place for long-term archiving. So that is what we recommend. The document, however, is also now sitting in the Sign tab here. You can see. Now, you can view the document from here, and you can actually, if say you needed to kick off another signing process, you can do that too. So once a document is signed, you can add more signatures to it, because that doesn't change the content of the document. Okay. Now, the document will sit in the Sign tab, as I mentioned, for 7 days until it gets deleted from our system, unless you turn on the history function. So we do also support the ability to keep your document for long term if you wanted, but you just have to agree to the terms in our account settings. So that's the usual flow of a signing process. You'd upload your document to our system, and this is without integrations, position, and then send it out. And then once everybody's signed, you can push it to where you want to keep the document long term. Now, I'm really mindful of the time, so I quickly just show you our template function. So templates are used for forms that are used multiple times over and over again, whereas when you upload a document, it might be a one-off document, or a document that you're actually creating in Microsoft Office, for instance. So a template would be a document that has something that changes about it each time, but not too much. So if I open this existing one, I will show you what our template builder looks like. So this is an example. So this is, you'd upload your own existing document, and then you'd layer signatures and fields on top of it. So this is really good for capturing information. So if in like your procurement process, you've got supplier information that you need to capture, you can send them one of these. So there's things like full name, I literally just added a text box, and you position it in the right place. You can choose for each text box who's responsible for filling it in. So is it the person signing, or is it in fact you who are sending it? So you can fill in information and send it out as well, or whether it's read only. You can also ask for documents to be attached and uploaded. And I've also added a signature box here. When you save a template, when you save it, you can also have some workflow settings here. This is a very quick rundown. So you give a template a name. You would share the template with other users within your department that need access to this template. And you can also say, every time this template is used, this is the email to go with it. Every time this template is used, this is the additional attachments to go with it. Every time this template is used, this is who you need to copy in. So you can really build some automation into this process. And the other feature that is really useful is also get a link. So if there's internal documents, again, HR documentation or other approvals where somebody internally needs to fill in say a request, by clicking the get a link, you can actually, this is the link here, to this particular document, and you can put that in your internal intranet, for example. So when somebody clicks on that link, it takes them straight away to fill in the template that you've created. So there's a lot of different use cases for the templates as well. And this is, what's in red is mandatory. So I'm sure you can think of some use cases already for your templates. So once you send it out, to send out a template, it's as easy as, sorry, better log back in. It's as easy as selecting the template tab, choosing the right one, and clicking send, which takes you straight to the workflow screen, and off it goes. You can also create packages of templates and then we put the signer here. So you can create packages of templates and you can create individual packages. There is no limits to the amount of documents that you can bundle together. So that's how easy it is to send out a template. Now, with 1 minute to go, because I do want to keep to my time, I am going to just tell you that on our website, let me just, I always do this wrong. On our website, we have some information more about digital signatures that I mentioned, how it works. So, you can go there. But if you'd like to speak to us, so we've got a quick survey at the end of this webinar. So if you can take, it's only got 4 questions. If you can take your time just to answer that. And in there's a question if you'd like us to, to have a private conversation and better understand your requirements. We would be more than happy to speak with you individually and understand where on the digital journey you're currently at, and share, the wealth of experience that we have helping others going from a paper-based business processes to digital and online ones. So we'd, really appreciate that opportunity. Likewise, really appreciate your time signing up to our webinar today, and we wish you have a wonderful rest of your day and look forward to being in touch again in the future. Thank you, everybody. Bye.